Welcome to another day in the Matrix. This is Red Pill Podcast number 101. I had an amazing time with everyone last week in Red Pill Podcast 100, celebrating the 100th episode with a live stream. It was great to hang out with you guys, answer some questions, go over a couple of the altcoins that you guys were writing about in the chat. Hope you all enjoyed it. Here we are at Red Pill 101, and here's to 100 more. So I'm going to be kicking this one off today with a full decode presentation on the Pisces full moon. It's going to be a special podcast, so I'm really looking forward to getting into this presentation. But before we get started, if you are new here to the Wolfpack, welcome. I appreciate your support. It's great to have you here with us. If you've yet to get Discord access, go ahead and send me a direct message on Patreon with your Discord username and the last four numbers after your username. Make sure to direct message me on Patreon about that, not in the comments of this video or any emails, and the instructions to that, if needed, are in the description of this video. As well, we did amazing on voting for the altcoins in this episode. I have 4 that I'll be getting into. We have Fetch, XDC, Stacks, and Telcoin, as well as TA on Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. But I want to focus today on this upcoming full moon, which is right around the corner. It is Sunday, so we have crypto trading alone for most of the morning into the afternoon or later into the day. About an hour before we have our weekly close in crypto, we'll have the Chicago Mercantile Exchange opening up for Bitcoin and ETH futures, and we have precious metals, the Dow Jones, and Forex. So probably a little bit of volatility into this upcoming weekly open, and as we pivot into tomorrow, Monday, where the New York Stock Exchange will open up around 9:30 a.m. So I just wanted to say that because probably for the next 48 hours or so, there's going to be some volatility in the market. We know there was a really exaggerated sell-off into the end of the trading week, pushing into Friday. Then on Friday, we had the Dow big buyback, about 400 plus points, and it didn't really do too much for the crypto market, but it's held structure since. So we've seen Bitcoin tap down to 22,000. It's just kind of holding at those levels right now. Kind of funny too that since we had the bigger sell-off a couple weeks ago, right here, I'm going to show you, just turn off some of this noise, of this big red candle, and going over to this new red candle that we had, which was on the 3rd of March, the 3/3 date, which is the 303 days left in the year, like that code. But it's 22 days and Bitcoin touched down perfectly to $22,000. So you can see this code is pretty obvious. And yesterday in the live stream that I did, it was a great time. And I opened it up with a little bit of a decode talking about Bitcoin and I believe XRP, a little bit of the price action that was going on over the couple days that I haven't made any content. So definitely check out that live stream. You guys also get the full live stream archive, so you can scroll back to prior live streams if you're interested and rewatch them. Appreciate all the support, of course. So let's get into this one today. Before we get started, actually, make sure to get yourself comfortable, relaxed, grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea. If it is the morning, if it's the nighttime, a glass of wine or a beer, beverage of your choice. Get relaxed. It's going to be an amazing episode 101. So let's get just straight into the dates. As I brought up before, we have this full moon on March 7th, Tuesday, day of Mars in the month of Mars. So all coded, of course. It's going to be a lot to get into, but let's just kick things off with this connection right here between March 7th, the full moon, to September 16th, which is Rosh Hashanah, and that is the Hebrew New Year, and that will be the transition into the new Hebrew year. It's a very important date because it will be the end of Jubilee. So Jubilee is practiced every 50 years, and here we are. It's very rare that this happens, only 2 a century. So you guys are living through one, and you're living through one at a time where it's not just the regular market, it's also with crypto. It's also in this post-C19 pandemic environment. And you see what the Fed's doing. So the Federal Reserve is just continuing on the rate hikes. The inflation is doing as it does. We had historic printing going on in 2020 into 2021. All of the money supply ever being printed in a single year comparatively to 1913. I'm sure most of you are aware of this statistic. But with that being said, we know that this September 16th is very important because it will be the end of that 50-year cycle, moving us into September 17th, which will be us leaving that energy completely. So this is my way of saying that that will be the end of Shemitah conversation until 2028. In which I envision us to be on a 100-year cycle of the 1929 Great Depression. So probably you've heard this before, but many people speak on a dollar collapse for the US dollar and all of this FUD and negativity about the US dollar being the world reserve and China taking over. And I continue time and time again to deny that as a possibility, solely because of my decoding that I've done. And I look at everything in cycles, so we are not there yet. And as I shared with you guys about the Spanish flu information, where it lasted 2 years and 2 months, that was how I was able to determine that we would have the end of the C-19 pandemic after 2 years and 2 months. That's exactly how it went. All of this is just a repeating cycle. So America will remain Garden of Eden until probably the year of the monkey, 2028 into 2029, and then we'll reassess. But between now and then, it is not that big of a problem as the mainstream and some even decoders and truthers are making it out to be. So I should probably move on from that, though, because it would require me to have a full decode and lots of information for those who do not believe what I'm talking about. But for the OG wolves that have been around for the past year, even 2 years, you know that I've been very adamant that throughout the Shemitah year, which we saw how that all went, and into the Jubilee year, we will not be having huge problems with the US dollar. It will actually be a deflationary event, which it was, and then we will have the furthering collapse and devaluation of other currencies. And we actually also saw that with the Great British Pound reaching all-time lows, seeing tons of issues with global currencies. So any of you who study Forex and you study what's going on with the rest of the currencies, you know my rhyme and reason was revealed and exposed for probably over a year and a half. And I told people the reason we have a deflationary spike in the USD is because, or the DXY, is because the smartest and richest people around the world who are in nations that don't carry the dollar as their main transactional currency, those rich elite will convert their weak fiat into dollars and hoard fiat USD. That's exactly how every Shemitah goes. It is no different. You could look at market crashes plus DXY spike, but there's that other element that I just spoke on a moment ago. So let's move through this, but I wanted to drop that gem and share as much as I can in these podcasts. Makes them a lot more special than just a normal YouTube video. Getting back to this, we have this connection of 193 days. 193 is the 44th prime number. Now, March 7th is also special because it's the 66th day of the year. Now, March 7th also has 53 date numerology, which is the 16th prime number. And if you look over here, this is September 16th. It's the 16th day of September. And you can see days left in the year, 106 days. So that's the 1616. So pretty amazing. March 7th is also a Tuesday, day of Mars, which is also Aries. And in the mythology, you write it as such, A-R-E-S, Aries, and that you're getting 16 in full reduction. We're also in the month of Mars, which is March, and we move into the sign of Aries on March 20th in the tropical system. So right now, currently in Pisces, but I just wanted to show you how this is coded out. Again, I'm not talking about the zodiac Aries right here with the gematria. I'm talking about the mythology Aries, Mars. You can see how that's written right here. I've just had that happen before because of people seeing the slight difference in spelling between the astrology, the zodiac, and the mythology. Okay, so another amazing connection here about Aries you're going to see is it's giving you this 43 in English ordinal. And if you connect March 7th to the day before the first day of Rosh Hashanah, which is right here, September 14th, this is very important because this is kind of weird to consider all these extra layers, but I wanted to help you guys see here my decoding strategy. This is the day before Shemitah, September 14th, and it is giving you this connection of 191, which is the 43rd prime number. As I was just showing you, Aries is 43 in English ordinal. Absolutely amazing because September 14th, this date that we're talking about, is also a 66 date numerology, and you can see March 7th, the upcoming full moon, is the 66th day of this year. Now, speaking of 191 and that being the 43rd prime number, 191 is the palindrome of the number 19. And let's check out April 19th really quickly. And April 19th giving you this 19 as we were speaking about before. And if you connect it to the March full moon that's coming up, you can see that is 43 days. So another connection back to this number 43. We were just speaking about the 191 being the palindrome of the number 19, connecting it to this number 19 over here, and that 191 being the 43rd prime number. 43 days from this upcoming full moon is the day before the solar eclipse, 19, and it is the 109th day of the year. Again, the number 19. So naturally, let me get this back in order. Naturally, that makes the following day the solar eclipse, which is 44 days. Very, very important. And remember, this is about the full moon in Pisces, and we're in the Piscean age. And let me just show you the gematria on that. Piscean age giving you 44. Remember, Jay-Z's last album was called 444. So a little bit of an esoteric side note, March is actually the first month in the calendrical system. It should not be January. Doesn't make much sense. So you're aware with the prefixes, you have October. Oct is actually 8. So it should be Oct for 8, then Nov for 9, then Des for Deci, which is 10. Then you have January, Janus should be 11. Feb being 12. And then you have the first month in the system, March. Right? It's the start of the wheel, Mars, Aries. Now, why this matters is because if it's not 3, it should be 1. It should look like this, 17. So we're going to be getting into this number 17 and how important it is. But just remember, March should actually be 1, not 3. And it's the 7th day. That's the 17. And you can see that this date numerology in the Gregorian system is 17. It's going to be a lot of 17s right now, guys, so get ready for this. The mirror of the number 17 is 71, and we're talking about Pisces, and Pisces is giving you 71 in English ordinal. Now, that's the upcoming full moon we're in. Pisces is the 2 fish. We know fish is giving us that 17 in Chaldean. Jesus said, "Follow me and I will make you fishers of men." So this is a very important code here because with fishers of men, we're getting 137. 137 is the 33rd prime number. And this is all coded in. He died at 33 years old, was crucified, 33 in Chaldean, resurrected 3 days later. It's all about the threes. He will make you the fishers of men. That was that 137 with that 33 prime, and we're in the Piscean age, the 2 fish, because Pisces is actually pieces, and it is about breaking you into 2 pieces to feel duality. That's what this age is about, to feel the duality. Then you learn the lessons that duality consciousness teaches us, and then you become the one. You become Neo through Trinity, right? So it's all showed to us in the Matrix movie, the simulacrum. You become one when you learn the lessons of duality consciousness. Then you begin to make the choices to be in unity consciousness. You make the choice, which makes you chosen, which is how you be the chosen one. Okay, moving on. We have Rosh Hashanah starts on September 15th. We have to talk about these dates because they're all in a 3-day window. So we have Rosh Hashanah starts on September 15th, which, getting back to the number 17, this is the day leaving 107 days in the year, 1-7. And Rosh Hashanah ends on the 17th of September, the 1-7. March 7th should be 1-7. It's the date numerology of 1-7, right? The day of Rosh Hashanah begins on the 16th, the day in the middle. This is the start of the month of Tishri in the Hebrew calendar, which makes this date 1 Tishri. And Tishri is the 7th month in the Hebrew calendar. So that will make this day 1 Tishri or 1-7. Okay? So 17 is so important. It keeps coming up in this code, and now I'm going to break it down even further. All right, 17 is the 7th prime number. And we've been talking about the Shemitah for a long time. It is the 7-year cycle. It has everything to do with the number 7 tied to Saturn. That is the 7th day of the week is Sabbath day, the day of rest. God rested on the 7th day. That God they're speaking of is Saturn. All right, so this 17 coming back to the number 7, Septem, the month September should actually be 7, but in this fake calendar we use, it's a 9, so that's just a distortion, as I was teaching you before with March. This is very important. 7th month in the Hebrew system is Tishri, and Rosh Hashanah is very special this year because it lands on a Saturday. It lands on a Sabbath day this year, making it a very powerful day. So 17th of September is officially the first full day of the Hebrew year. Some might consider it the second day, but if you technically think about it, it'll be the first full day, 24 hours, because it's all done by the sunrise and sunset. Okay, so just consider that this will be the first full day of the new Hebrew year. Regardless, it starts the year of 5,784, and 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 4 gives you the 24. This is important. Next year is very, very important. So this 24 connects you to the same day because September 17th is a 24 date numerology. And it lands on a Sunday, which is the day of the sun, or Helios, with that 24. What are the odds? You all know I'm kidding about that. It's all synchronized. Nothing is chaotic about this system. It is synchronicity. So this number 24 also brings us back to the zodiac logo of Jupiter. We've shown this several times, but just to give you a quick reminder, we have that 24 right there. That is that symbol. It's the 24 hours in the day. Again, this number 24 has everything to do, connection with the sun cycle, as well as with this Jupiterian energy we have here in the age of Pisces, the Piscean age, Pisces ruled by Jupiter, 24. So Helios giving you that 24 again on the day Sunday. 24 will be starting the Hebrew year of 5784. 24 in numerology. So let's finish this off we were talking about this 24 connection to all of this, but then in the code, we know Jupiter in Gematria is giving us that 27. So let me show you the last connection here with this number 27. From the 17th, this 24 date numerology, we're kind of making this big connection here. And we're going to be tying it to the upcoming October eclipse of October 14th. And that's with 27 days tying us to the 27. We're getting there in Jupiter. This will be when we're in the Hebrew year that adds up to 24. And I just showed you that connection there. Deeper, more symbology here to the 24 of the zodiac logo of Jupiter. But this connection is madness. The fact that we're even in the Gematria, we're getting this connection back to all of these key eclipses. So I'll leave it there because you guys know I'm going to make a full Gematria decode and presentation on this upcoming Rosh Hashanah, this 15th through 17th in September. And I'll also be making a video about the October eclipse, which is going to be a mind-blowing decode. So I'll make sure to have that released here on Patreon at least 3 to 4 months in advance, maybe sooner. So you guys can anticipate that decode coming out probably around like May into June. So I'm going to do the best I can on it. It'll be just the same quality as the past decodes we've done, like the Year of the Rabbit and Super Bowl 57 decoded. It'll be dedicated to the end of the Jubilee and the upcoming October eclipse, which I think is a very bearish eclipse. Remember, I was teaching that I think that the upcoming solar eclipse in April and May will be bullish, but then this October one will be very bearish. All right. And here we are, we're 45 days away from this next eclipse. And we know that's tied in not only with Jupiter right there, but tied in with Bitcoin with 45 in the same cipher. So anyways, we know this year is very special for Bitcoin and for cryptocurrency in general because we're in the Hebrew year of 5783. We have that 23. We're in the Jubilee. We have that 23. We have Bitcoin in the same cipher, 23. This is all ran by the mercurial fiat money created out of thin air system. Mercury giving you that 23. Not the god of wealth. It's the god of commerce, the god of fake money. All right? People need to know this because people keep calling this thing the god of wealth. No, it's the god of those who know how to leverage on debt and leverage on the fake money. That's who this benefits. And you could all learn this too. It's not the elites that are given permission to this knowledge. I'm spilling the beans right now. You know, you got to learn debt. You got to master it. You got to master this fiat system. Mercury is not your enemy. None of these things are bad or evil or even good. They're just opportunities. And the more you expand consciously, the more you dive in within and access your gnosis, you'll see it for what it is, which it's all here to help you throughout your expansion. Okay, so let's get to Bitcoin and some of these altcoins. We're here on the 12-hour chart. We could see a couple things forming. We got RSI lows coming in around here in February on our last dip down to 21,000. We could see RSI about 47, 45. Over here, though, we're seeing Bitcoin come down to 22 with a higher low. RSI actually around 43, kind of a little bit lower. So we're getting lower lows on RSI, but higher lows on the price action. It's getting a little bit of a divergence here. Again, we can't really confirm too much at this time. We know we had a really obvious bearish divergence back here when we saw the RSI on the 12-hour get up to 90, and we were continuing on higher highs in price whilst we were seeing a downtrend form with lower highs on the RSI every single day. And this back test back here on February 13th was a date that I prepared you guys for. It was an incredibly accurate call to the dollar. Not only did I call out the date of February 13th, but I called out the price of 21,400, 21,300 for Bitcoin. That's exactly where it went. And I not only gave you that probably a month in advance, but I was taking action that day. That was the same day that I started to accumulate again. It's not just about what you plan for and what you say, it's about what you do. right? I'm not bragging. I'm really being direct here because I want you guys to know that when you create a plan, you also need to trade the plan, right? And you got to be conservative. You have to be strategic. This is how the game works for a sophisticated investor, for those who take the time to develop a sophisticated investment thesis. So we got this back test, and then after this, we actually went on to make another higher high, rejection at 25,000. We know that BTC, Bitcoin's ticker, is 25. It's a very important number for Bitcoin and all of cryptocurrency because crypto gives you 25. Cryptocurrency, reverse of 25 is 52. Speaking of the number 24 that I was sharing with you guys earlier with the zodiac logo of Jupiter, we see that cryptocurrency equals 204 in English ordinal. Remove that 0 in the rules of numerology, you get back to that 24. It's important. Crypto trades 24/7, 365. It never pauses. It's all coded in. Getting back to the chart, we're starting to build a lot of support here at around 22,000. That's nice to see. We've been holding this pump that we've had starting January above the 20,000 level, so that's really healthy. We're able to see that we topped out perfectly on the new moon. There's your new moon, black circle over there. We had our full moon energy kick in a little late with the last full moon cycle back in February. But I told you guys the reason for February 13th was because of the quarter moon. So you can see that third quarter moon was February 13th, and that was confluence, that was evidence, and why I shared that specific date with you guys in advance. Now we're a couple days before the full moon, and we still have our eyes on this March 14th third quarter. Could actually be the end of this short-term pullback we're getting and the start of us moving up another leg higher, breaking 25,000. So keep that in mind. If we wanted to time what's happening right now, which I don't, it's funny because people like time in the market is better than timing the market, but this is what we're doing here. We're figuring out how to time the market through astrology, through gematria and numerology, and taking all this code, this esoteric code, and this is the closest you can get to timing the market effectively, accurately. And system's working out pretty damn well. So I would say, based in how I'm analyzing this at this time, and because this upcoming full moon is so powerful, March 7th, and that whole decode that I just shared with you guys, I would be looking towards this March 14th date to be pivoting out of that pullback that we've experienced thus far and moving towards the new moon, which we should then really kick off. I would say between the 14th through April 20th, we should be breaking out. We already started the breakout, but we won't be able to have a party until 25K to the upside has been pierced. Now let's zoom out a little bit. Let's get to the weekly. Turn off my moon cycle. You can see a couple things. So for one, we have this wick that fell down into 25K. We got rejected back in August of 2022. And then again, we've gotten a little bit of a rejection at the same level. And that means that getting above 25 is definitely a struggle. And I'm going to show you in the indicators why that's happening. I brought this up a couple times, but it has everything to do with these two moving averages right here. It is the 200 simple, the 200 exponential, and now after this weekly close, it will also be the 55 simple moving average. They're all coiling up right there. We need to close a weekly, at least a 5-day candle above this 25,300 area. So I actually like how this weekly close is coming in around this level. It's going to combine all three of these moving averages, squeeze together, and it's a sign. Once we break that 25K resistance, it's kind of thin air above us, and Bitcoin can make a substantial move pretty quickly. We could hit into 35K in the course of a week or two. So let me just show you the days here and the time frames. I was just talking about this third quarter moon of March, so that's March 14th. Let me take from that day and bring us to the furthest out I see this going, which would be about the 5th of May. That's 52 days, guys. That's a lot of time to see moves. And then if we take from the same date to the April eclipse, that's 37 days. So I'm not here trying to say that Bitcoin's going to just go like bash through all of the resistances and make it all the way to 50K right now. But it's definitely possible for us to start a breakout pretty damn soon. And, 40,000, 42,000 at the 0.5 fib is sounding possible. It's sounding possible in the month of the month of April. It's the fourth month in the scam system. 40,000, it's possible. And I know that 24 and 42 number follows Bitcoin very closely. So getting back to this, I just want to share that there is this kind of final moments energy that we're all feeling right now. I think anyone who's invested in these markets, you're probably getting this intuitive sense that we're ready to make a move. And remember how quick that this breakout happened. This one right here in January, it was just a straight line. Bitcoin pretty much broke out 25% in 3 days. So if we were to go 25% in 3 days after March 14th, that would be like getting to literally the 236 fib, just getting there by the 17th of March, 3 days before the new moon. So think about what's possible in this breakout here between the second move up, which is about 35% in 8 days. Again, you can measure that. We got off the 14th, go 8 days over. It's bringing us to about here, the 22nd of March, right around that new moon. You got 34%, I believe. And that makes a lot of sense because that's right into that area of trading range. That's right here at these support lows that we were holding before the bounce into the final yearly all-time high that we got. We're looking by the 22nd of March, somewhere around 30K. And that would be above the 236. That's a very technical level. And the next leg up could be happening like a blow off top. And I talked about this in my Crypto Coffee podcast, and it's this thing right here. So last thing to say, if we could move up 34% in a week, that would be like moving us up to this moment here. We can kind of dance around for a little bit, and then on the finality of it, just go boom, straight line, an additional 74%. This is how it kind of works, guys. So just consider this, all right? I really want you to be considerate of this. If we took off of this move here over to this range, which is kind of where I see us at now, that's about 60 days. If I take off of the May eclipse area, May 5th to today, it's exactly 60 days. You see how the timing is pretty damn similar? So will Bitcoin extend throughout this upcoming solar eclipse and make it to the May 5th eclipse? Definitely possible. It's definitely possible, but this is a cryptocurrency. It could be very volatile, very last minute, just pump. So I gave you that weekly level to look at, those 200 moving averages. Let's look at the daily and see some of these moving averages that we're working with. We know we got that 236 fib somewhere around 28K. Here we are. We can see that the 13 exponential is crossing below the 21, but we're still in a bullish posture. Let's look at where our 55 is. Okay, so we had the 55 simple cross above that 200 exponential. The 200 exponential is a key target to look at right now. It's sitting about 21,800. We back tested it on February 13th and then popped. So we tend to go low at the final moments before we pop up. That's very normal price action for Bitcoin. All right. So I would not be shocked if we had maybe a move down really quickly to like 21.7, 21, right to that 200 exponential moving average on the daily, and then went up after that. Bitcoin likes to do those final liquidations of, longs that are highly leveraged. The market maker loves doing stuff like that. As long as we have this 8 moving average above the 55 simple, that's looking pretty good, but we could see it cross momentarily and then continue up. That's also a very normal thing for these moving averages. Something like this. You see how they're just wiggling, crossing each other up and down until we make a final move up. So that kind of energy is normal as well, especially at this stage of the cycle where Bitcoin just experienced a 80% pullback. So downside levels, I'd be looking for potentially a test of the 200 exponential moving average on the daily, somewhere around 21,700. If we start closing dailies below 21,600, that would be a little alarming because the next level would be somewhere around 21 flat. Bitcoin can totally backtest 21, hold that level and pop, but again, it would be a little bit alarming. We have a couple things to say though. We have this peak high before we fell coming in at 21, and that's pretty much the average of our trading range, 21,000 for the past 200 something days. Keep that in mind. 21K is a very, very important level, and holding that is definitely important at this time. But 22K is looking great. I would suspect after how dramatic the sell-off was into the end of the week for the stock market, that a lot of that energy is probably over. And I know that I think it's the 15th of March is the next Fed meeting. We'll see how that goes. But they're not just going to want to keep the market sliding at this time. They're going to interject as they tend to. Upside target would be anything above 24,000 and swipe to 25. But the big target that I exposed earlier is the key, the one that I would pay attention to most. 25,300. Weekly close would be amazing. And it's probably not going to happen until we get to this week right here, the third quarter. We've been getting our lows on first quarter and third quarters exactly. Very accurate, but still overall bearish around full moons, bullish around new moons. We saw the last new moon accuracy within 24 hours hitting highs. We don't have another new moon until March 21st. So keep that in mind for those last minute accumulations. Let's go to ETH. Same story. So we're probably going to move through ETH and XRP pretty quickly because there hasn't been much change here, just chopping along in the range. For downside targets on ETH, holding about 1,500 would be very important. It's a nice psychological clean level. We rose into that level of 1,500 in a straight line day after day with really no pullbacks along the way. You could see right here that Ethereum had 8 straight daily closes green. Just classic. But then once it hit into the 1,700 area, it started to stall out. So the same way that Bitcoin needs to break 25,000 is the same way that ETH needs to break 2,000. So those are going to happen in tandem. If Bitcoin starts to close above 25 and starts heading into 26, 27, and then 28K, which will be around the 236 fib for Bitcoin, that's probably when you'll see a test of 2,000 for ETH. One word of caution is that in the last cycle, we only saw ETH go up into the 0.5 fib. So look at this. We can see right here, I'm going to delete that. The 0.5 fib swing high to swing low is where the automatic rally ended. Here in our cycle, that would only be $2,000. If I remember correctly, let me show you. So that would be right here, this 0.5 fib at 2,075. That is a gamble. It's even a gamble for me because I did invest in ETH and I am looking to de-risk it. But this kind of is me saying that I think ETH is maturing and it's actually performing better than it did in the last cycle. And I know it actually has thus far. I have evidence. For one, in the last cycle, ETH lost 95% of its value. But so far in this cycle, it's only lost 82% of its value. So it's done better. It's maturing. And that makes me a little bit more confident that there's a $3,000 possibility for ETH in this relief rally, somewhere between like 2,500 and 3,000. If we can get to 3,500, which would be this peak right here, the bull trap before we keeled over, that would be incredible. But I highly doubt we're going to be breaking that high. That would take Bitcoin probably hitting $50,000 or like $47,000 to $50,000 in order for ETH to get back to like 3,500. So I'm making a gamble on a double. Pretty much getting in around 1,400, 1,500 and getting out around 2,800 to 3,000. That's kind of my play. It's a conservative play. And then if we do get a rollover into the October eclipse, we could be seeing a sub $1,000 ETH again. So it's just me kind of playing the long-term swing trading game. And I do plan to have a 15 to 20% position in ETH overall. I see it as the future. I can't really get too deep into that now because we're like 40 minutes into the podcast, but anyone who's been following my work, I look at everything through the mythology. And Ethereum is ether, which is the upper air that the gods breathe in mythology. It's not going anywhere. It's very important. It is the air of the cryptos that will make it through the next phase, which is the regulatory phase. And then the phase after the regulatory phase will be the adoption phase from the everyday man, the collective, the retail that right now thinks that crypto's a scam. It's when those people start to get involved in it, and that has to come after the regulatory phase. So think of this stuff in phases. This ISO 222 thing that's going down and what's happening with the SEC, with Ripple, and everything else that's regarding the SEC and this current administration. Also, what has been going down with what we saw with Terra Luna, with FTX, with Sam Bankman-Fried, as well as allegations of CZ over at Binance, etc. We're not near the completion of the regulatory phase by any stretch of the imagination, especially after we see what happened with BlockFi, Celsius, and all these other earned interest wallets. So you guys know, I know I'm hip on it. I'm hip on it all. I pay attention to what matters most. But when we're looking at these phases, this is important when we're gambling on or speculating on a project. So I've done my due diligence. I've done my research on what I know matters most. I don't see Ether going anywhere. People can spread all the FUD they want, but I've been playing this game through the esoteric, coming back to mythology. That served me very well. It served me very well, especially by not getting fudded out by people who don't even know what we're talking about here. People that are only making up their investment thesis through the exoteric or what the commercial, mainstream information is. So that's kind of the gamble there for the play on ETH and a possibility of us getting over 2,000 or above the 0.5 fib, which was what happened last cycle. I'm anticipating we actually have a little bit of more juice in us, maybe make it to 2,400, 2,500. Wick into 3,000 is definitely possible in this matrix. Okay, so we are seeing something pretty important on this ETH chart. I'm actually going to bring up another ETH chart that I've been enjoying to play with lately because it is cleaner. You can see I just have a regular fib pulled from this swing high to this swing low. This is our resistance trend line that we've been struggling with since April of 2021. Just keep getting rejected on it. But now I have this white trend line, and it was up until the other day, 2 days ago, that we got that really big wick on March 3rd. Again, the 3/3 date, the day leaving 303 days in the year. This, is moved 0.006%. 6 is just 3 plus 3. Gotta love it. It was 0.00021 cents, which 2 plus 1 is 3. I'll stop. It's all numbers, guys. So we can see here that there is a pattern forming where we had support, break of support, and then that gets flipped into resistance, then a break of resistance back into the overall trend line, rejections. But then I want you to show how now we're supported by the same trend line again. And that wick down here was a perfect touch point. This is 3 clean touch points. This is telling me that once XRP can actually firmly break this resistance trend line, that'll be the start of the real reversal. And I would feel a lot more confident with this 236 being pierced as well. So we'll have 2 things going on. 1, the break of this very long-term trend line. 2, closures above the 236. And then the third and more confident play here would be waiting for a structural horizontal level to be broken, which would be 53. And this is the same news. I keep giving you guys the same news on XRP because it has not developed at all. It's still sideways and 300 days now. So it's getting kind of boring, but I've been using this final moment as an accumulation phase for me. because I see a possibility of break of 75 cents. And you guys know XRP, it just shoots up in a straight line. So this is not one of those coins that gives you a chance. I like to play the boredom on this one. I play the boredom, and then when I get the shot up, I like to trade the crown tops that we get because they're always showing up, these Bart Simpson patterns. It keeps happening time and time again. You zoom in and you'll just keep seeing them. Bart head, right here, Bart head at the yearly high, Bart clean here, right? So we've been really good at trading this coin for the past couple of years now, and I think that a relief rally is very possible at this stage. 0.5 would make a lot of sense, but getting a little bit above it because of how suppressed this coin is, about $1 into 130, that'd be a real heavy move for XRP, but you guys know how this project is. I would personally be just sticking conservatively to around $1, right above that 618 fib. But really nothing to say here, man. We are holding 37 really firmly. This looks like a very solid trend line to keep in mind. We have around March 14th. This trend line is coming around 34 cents, which is within the structural support. 34 cents is possible. I would definitely be accumulating at that range if it comes in. We just have to see, because what I'll say about this upcoming full moon in a couple days is we could pivot right out of that full moon. Literally, we could pivot out of it. And this has happened before. When we get out of that full moon energy, we can see XRP shoot right up. Or sorry, not even XRP. We could just see crypto move up, and then we move up prematurely into the March 14th third quarter. Then we have the Fed meeting on the 15th. I think it's on the 15th. We have that Fed meeting on the 15th, and then we stall out, have some volatility just for that day, but then we continue up to the new moon over the next 5 to 7 days. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to move on from this because we have some altcoins to touch on. We have Fetch AI. I don't know if I've ever looked at this, so this might be my first time. Going to take it one step at a time. We have a lot of data here going back to 2019. Beautiful. Okay, so I have a lot of years to look at. I have the only problem here is I don't have the last cycle. So I don't have the 2017 to 2018 cycle. I'm working with a coin that was launched before the C19 crash. So that's actually a good thing, because this crash, if a coin was created after that crash, I have a really hard time trusting it because it didn't make it through the most important black swan event of the last 100 years, right? So this is good that we have this data. The fact that we have, a full year before that event of data. So this is nice. I'm just letting you guys know what I look out for when I'm looking at a chart for the first time. So another thing I like is we have, this was your SOS, your sign of strength. This was your backup phase. And then this was your first buying climax. And then a double top. It kind of did the same thing Bitcoin did, where it hit its all-time high around March, April. Then it came back up for a new all-time high in the fall time of 2021 before entering its sell-off, or what we can call right here a selling climax. So why do I like this? Because we have a low, then we have recently a higher low. When I'm looking at a chart like Litecoin, or even like Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, or there's a lot of projects that have a ton of data and they've broken lower than this moment right here. But this coin is holding those lows with higher lows. So I like that. So another positive check for Fetch. Let's look at how big the sell-off was. We're looking at about 95%. Beautiful. So that's about what we anticipate. 95% is a typical selling climax for crypto altcoin. So that's great. We got a 95% correction. I could confirm that this is your buying climax. This is your selling climax. So now we could zoom into the current price action we're working with. I'm going to be putting a line right here. Put another line right here. Like magically went to it, actually. Beautiful. So these are my support lows if we're going to have a further sell-off into the future. Wow. Okay, now I'm looking at the current data. Oh shit, this is probably done. All right, no, this is done. Okay, well great. For this coin, it's done its automatic rally. So this is it. I'm not trying to tell anyone to sell right now. This is not financial advice, but this is what automatic rallies look like. Jeez. TradingView could really do better with the scaling. Can't complain though, because it's great software, but sometimes it's a little bit finicky. All right, guys. So when you're pulling your fib and you're seeing a pump straight line into the 786, the top of the golden pocket, that's usually a sign of it's over, and just making it past the 0.5 fib is where you anticipate the finality of an automatic rally. So this looks like it's done. It's completed its automatic rally phase. Congratulations. It went up about 700%. Absolutely incredible. You see the level that it had a stall out and it wanted to trade a little bit sideways before that final pump. It was the 0.5 fib. That's your dead cap bounce level. So if you can't get above that, you could roll over and have back tests to the 236 or even a double bottom. But when it got there, it decided, okay, we're going to go up. We went up in a straight line. And you could see that final move, 100% in 4 days, rejection in 4 days. This is what happens in automatic rallies, guys. Like, it doesn't give you a lot of time to get the perfect top. That's why we don't try to get the tops here. We just get the levels. And you see where it's been rejected the most? Right at the 702 fib, which is a classic area that I teach. By the way, if this kind of stuff is confusing and you want to get better at it and you want to be more aware of, all these little details and nuances of my TA, my crypto mastermind course is on a big discount for you guys. If you're trying to get more knowledgeable in TA and decoding and combining the two, it's an opportunity. So my crypto mastermind course, you'll see the link inside of the description of this video. It includes a 20% discount for you guys as Patreon supporters. I appreciate your continued support, but definitely develop these skills because it's going to help you expedite the process. It's going to help you make better investment decisions. So anyways, we are probably done on this cycle for fetch. And now the next thing I would anticipate is maybe because of Bitcoin and ETH having a little bit of bullish energy, this thing could hang out in the golden pocket for a little. Maybe it could keel over to like 30 cents, but then come up again. It might have a little bit of that energy, but for the most part, this is a technical play and it's probably done what it needed to do. Yeah. Okay. So look on this automatic rally on the weekly chart. We got up to 85 RSI on the weekly. The last time it got up to 85 like this was after the C19 buyback. And then look at what it led to. Right at 85 RSI, it led to a 81% sell-off. So if we were to have the same thing happen off that wick of an 80% sell-off, where does that bring you to? The 236 fib. It's exactly what I teach. So fetch coming back to 11 cents by October is not weird. It's very, very normal. It could hit that by June. That's how fast these coins can fall. Look at how fast they could rise. They could fall at the same speed. So I would not be fucking around in this area. This is it's probably it. So yeah, we can't really say too much because it's completed a thing that we've been waiting for with some of the bigger coins, but these smaller speculative altcoins, they still do what I teach. I get a lot into this in my exit strategy blueprint as well. So anyone who's been following that, the coursework, you know that this is just a textbook, perfectly clean automatic rally. It doesn't get better than this example right here. Okay. I should probably move on, but I'll just say some final things. 888 is definitely possible. It would be weird, but who knows? With these low cap alts, they could do some weird shit. So pop up there, definitely if there's another leg higher, but most likely holding these highs, holding this range, and a drop down to the 236 in the future is in the cards. I wouldn't personally be too involved in this. I would wait until the Bitcoin halving to revisit this coin, see how it's done since perhaps at the later half of 2024 could be an investment opportunity because I do like the chart and I like the fact that it had the 95% sell-off, the perfect automatic rally. It's still fucking crazy volatile, but the chart doesn't look like dog shit. Like I've seen charts recently that were just like abysmal, and this one doesn't look that bad to me. log scale. Linear, it looks crazy, but any crypto chart with 3 or 4 years of data is going to look crazy. Let's go to XDC. All right. Okay. Awesome. So this is really clean. We have a bearish fib pulled from this level right here up to the swing high. So we pulled it in reverse. And you see the 1618. Look at that. Perfect touch. It's amazing. So perfect touch down there. This is done on its selling climax, but now it's kind of giving me this inverse head and shoulders vibe. Let me show you. I mean, technically we'd want to, oh yeah. I mean, damn. This thing's like close. Oh, wow. Okay, so we have that inverse head and shoulders plus this clean W. Let me just show you on the W. I don't like the neckline being that low, but I'm just take it to the top because we need a horizontal breakout as well. And that's going to bring us to above this prior range. So yeah, that'd probably be the start of that breakout. Meaning when we get above 033 is when I anticipated heading into this level right here. So I'm going to delete this just for the moment. Oh, perfect. So remember I just said 033? We'll look at the 236. It's at 032. So again, perfect level to break. 033 gets you above that 236. That's your first resistance typically you get. And then you just go straight to the 0.5 fib if you're an altcoin. Getting above that level of the 236, straight to the 0.5 fib, and then we'll see how it acts. But then you're talking about this resistance line that's been in play for fucking 500 days is officially broken. It's actually officially broken today. And the reason I'll say this is because, look, we got a back test confirming it as a support. Then we went on to a new high compared to this high, then a higher low, and now today we're making a higher high from this structure. So once we get above this 236, I would confirm that this trend line is officially over forever. It's really big news because that's a long-term trend. 500 days in altcoin land, especially low cap altcoin. So where does this end? Probably 0.67 between the 0.5 and the 618. That'd be a big buyback on this thing. I mean, off the absolute wick lows, it's pretty nice. About two, actually no. Yeah, but you want to know why, guys? It's because look at the gains it had. It had 30,000% gains. So it's like, yeah, what more could you want? That's why the buyback on this. Because like when we were looking at fetch before, let me show you the gain. Let me show you the difference. Off the C19 to here, to the top, it was 8,500. Off the same area, it was 28,000. So Fetch was able to have a 700% automatic rally, whilst XDC might only have a 300%. Because it already had crazy explosive gains. So just take this stuff into consideration, guys. That's why looking at suppressed projects is more interesting to me, and it's why I don't invest in XDC. Why? It's not a suppressed coin. It had an insane bull run. Insane. And I mean, it's a good chart. It's a good performer. You could see these lows that were coming in August 2019. When we got to the C19 crash, it actually held higher lows. It's good. Yeah, I mean, it's a badass performing coin, but like I'm not interested personally. It doesn't have the explosive growth that I could see with other speculative plays. But I'm not speaking badly on it. I'm just letting you know about where I stand with my investment thesis. So getting above the 236, maybe making it up to this territory right here because of that peak. But then we have that 618. That's a classic level. And then technically coins like to stall out at the 702. If it gets any higher than that, it'll look like that fetch play where it just swipes in a single day up to the top of the 618 and then kind of plays around in the golden pocket before returning back down to the 236. So this is looking great. It had a huge sell-off. It deserved it. I mean, look at that. Only a 90% sell-off after 30,000% gains. And then you have coins that only go up 1,000, 2,000%, and they still lost 95% of their value. Like, this coin is crazy. It would have to go down to 10 to 1 penny to lose the same amount. So that could be the spring for XDC, and that's highly likely, man. It could have an automatic rally like this where you go to the 702 and then it has a spring where it breaks the bottom and it comes down into 1 penny. It's not weird. Coins have springs all the time, especially if there's a black swan. So just be open-minded to that. I don't care that this is an ISO 222 compliant. None of that really matters, because when it will matter is when we're fully like through that regulation phase that I spoke on earlier. Let's move on to stacks. This is a brand new chart for me. So 2 brand new coins. Oh, wow. Okay. Also, great. This is a very positive episode. You guys picked. Yeah. Well, I picked, because sometimes you guys are voting on coins that I looked at last month and I just disregard them even if they got high votes. And I was very clear about that. I don't want to be covering the same projects over and over again. I want to give it at least 3 months or so before revisiting a coin. So let's look at where we're at. 2019, we got about 1,200 days of data. That's plenty of data. We have, here's your C19 crash. Wow. Okay, so we have our C19 crash, we have our SOS, backup phase, all-time high, same structure, all-time high in April, like Bitcoin, sell-off, then finishing off its new all-time high. Later into 2021, same thing Bitcoin did, rollover, higher low than the C19 low, so that's looking great because you even have a higher low than your backup phase. So check, positive. Let's go off the sell-off. Okay, 94%. That's what we get. Beautiful. You guys are seeing the patterns here, right? If you've been following along the Red Pill podcast now for any length of time, you see that all alts basically have very similar patternings to them. Some charts just look better than others. Some have done way better. So now in this cycle, you're probably going to see some suppression, or it's going to relax a little bit, etc. So we have that 95% sell-off. Let's look at where we're at in the fibs right here. Ooh, I don't like that. 1 second, let me check this. Also, sorry if there's any outside noise. All right, I don't like this because we sharply moved up in a straight line. Jeez, dude, look at this single candle. That's 72% in a day. Okay, so this thing moved up 230% in 2 weeks. That's dramatic. Okay, so the fact that we almost got up to the golden pocket, but we couldn't, and then now we're back below the 0.5 fib, that's not looking good. This looks like the end of the automatic rally on this coin as well. So you guys see how automatic rallies work in crypto. Straight line breakouts. It doesn't give you a lot of time. That's why I said you got to prepare yourself. You got to prepare yourself for this stuff. Have your limit orders in place. If Bitcoin wants to have a little bit of a pullback to 21,000, this could go down to 50 cents again, 58 cents, excuse me, somewhere around this 382 fib. And if it wants to go another leg higher, it would not be weird for it to get into that 702 fib territory. It's totally possible, about 146, 145. Yeah, but I don't like how quickly and how straight it went up to this level, right between the 0.5 and 0.618, and then it fell down. And now it's starting to look like a sell wall, 33% down. All right, anyways, consider that with Bitcoin having a next move to the upside above 30,000, that could be what puts some juice in this project to make it up to $1 and eventually $1.45. We have this high coming in right here before the continuation of the sell-off. That's 155. We could definitely have lower highs here, and that's typical of an automatic rally anyways. No price discovery, just lower highs, but still a pretty dramatic buyback. Then after the rollover, probably the 236 is where I would keep in mind, but look at this look at the wicks on this. It's very, very volatile. Compared to Fetch, this isn't as good looking, but still great performance. Great performance compared to some other, shit coins that I've looked at. The logo is really interesting. It looks like some sort of Chinese character, Chinese symbol. I have no idea what this project is. STX, interesting. But anyways, this isn't looking horrendous, but kind of a warning symbol. Same thing with Fetch. The fact that they're trading into these automatic rally territories, it's not good. De-risking energy for sure. Let's go to Telcoin and wrap this one up. All right, so Telcoin, it never actually made it to its 1618. It kind of bottomed out around 11 cents, which is weird because there's really nothing it back tested. You have this big break in trading range, which I've seen on a couple charts. You have a 98% sell-off. Jesus. Okay, wow. Real deal shitcoin. All right. Yeah. Okay. See the parabolic straight line breakout, and then it just follows by 98% sell-off. It's not healthy. Unhealthy. But I have this level of 009 marked off for a reason. I assume that I've gone over this coin in the past. Let's see where that is coming to. Okay, perfect. That's coming to the 0.5 fib. Let me delete this. All right, there you go. So a couple reasons why this line is here is because, one, it is the area where we got a little bit of a bounce before the bull trap. It is also right here where we had a quick test up before falling over again. And it is perfectly at the 0.5 fib when we pull a swing high to swing low fib retracement. So there you go. 009 right there, probably a key level to keep in mind, somewhere between 009 and 1 penny. In English, 1 penny. Telcoin is probably going to go up to about a penny on this automatic rally. Keeps it nice and simple, nice and short and sweet. But I'll go ahead and say that this is probably the bottom right here, unless this thing goes to zero. But losing 98% of its value is dramatic. Off the C19 crash, this thing gained, oh my God, dude, 50,000%. That's why. Look at this straight line breakout. Holy moly. What nonsense is this? It went up $30,000 in like 4 months. Sorry, 30,000%. Silly. So silly, dude. For what? Like, seriously. And it's all inflated bullshit because then it loses 98% of its value. So if it was good, it wouldn't lose so much. Just, again, it just is what it is. It's just so silly how this happens. But yep, had a huge bull run and then it lost most of its value and it could definitely go lower in the future. But this is probably your bottom for now. And why I'm bringing that up is if we get up to like the 1 penny territory into the golden pocket, then to anticipate a return back to the 236, which is pretty much where we're struggling right now, building a lot of trading range here, which is healthy. It's a good thing. We could see a little bit of a stall out at the same level back here in 2021 in February. So I'd keep my eyes on 003 because, again, we're having a tough time breaking it, which means when we do break it, especially because it's a technical level, it is an area we magnetize back to. All right, guys. So I got into a lot of things today, especially in the charts. And I think we were really in a flow state with some of these alts. You guys picked really awesome charts this week. Amazing. Wow. Probably one of the best red pills ever, I feel. Really had fun with the decode in the beginning. I'm not just saying that. Really had fun with the decode and going over these projects, looking at the charts of Bitcoin even and getting into some speculation about what the next leg up is going to be like with the dates and tying it all together. So I hope you all enjoyed Red Pill Podcast 101, the Pisces full moon decode. And I'm looking forward to hearing some of your feedback. Definitely comment in this, the next coin that you want me to look at, include the ticker symbol as well as the full name of the project. Make sure it has at least 1 year of chart data if you're going to submit the project. And whatever one gets the most thumbs up, the most likes is what will be selected for next week. So I'm going to wrap this one up here. I appreciate every single one of you. Wishing you all a beautiful rest of your weekend. Much love.